Hey everyone, this is Blake at Firing Line Shooting. Today we are talking about the Walther PDP Match Steel frame and kind of comparing it against the Walther Q5 steel frame. These are both fantastic guns here. This one just has some different grip panels. This one has a red dot. I'm still waiting on an optics plate for the Q5, but you should still be able to see kind of how the recoil impulse is. They both have the Walther Dynamic Performance triggers, which are fantastic. Let's go ahead and show you those real quick. I'll show you in the Q5 first. Make sure this thing is clear. It is. And so, as you can see with this trigger, you get that short bit of take up. Just a super clean break. And the reset, super short, and break again. So, these triggers are some of the best ones you can get. If you've shot a Smith & Wesson M&P with an Apex trigger, it's very similar to that. I'll show you guys with my left hand. This one has a little bit more take up, but a defined wall, break, short reset, and break. So honestly, these triggers are the only ones I found that can rival the M&P 2.0 Apex trigger upgrade. I might shoot a little bit of that one kind of side by side because I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to compete with in the next couple of days. But I just wanted to get some fast footage, some slow footage of these two guns. I haven't had anything sent to me. The Q5 Match is my own personal gun that I was thinking about competing with, but I'm waiting on that optics plate. And the Walther PDP Match steel frame is one that I just got on a trade, and I'll probably be looking to sell one of the two. The ammo that we're going to be shooting is going to be the Federal 124 grain training ammo. That way it's the same across the board, and this is going to be similar to stuff that I'd probably compete with. And so we don't have any sponsors for the video. This is an unbiased review. I've shot both of these guns a little bit so far, enough to get a feel for them, get the one with the red dot zeroed and things like that. So now I just want to get some actual footage of the differences between the two as far as recoil goes, and maybe do some shot timing and see how they compare. Whichever one wins out of this group, I'll probably be shooting in the competition on Sunday. All right, so first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to shoot 10 normal speed rounds through each one. Again, we're using the Federal 124 training ammo. We're going to do the PDP match steel frame and then the Q5 match steel frame. And then just for fun, we're going to also do the competitor because I'm kind of trying to figure out which one of those I'm going to be shooting with. So here we go. So right off the bat, I did feel like these two were pretty similar. If I had to pick just off of that feeling, which one felt the best, I'd probably say the Q5 Match. The PDP was good, even though it has those other grips. I think just because the weight of that slide is so thick because there's extra material added on there with the super terrain serrations, maybe that reciprocating mass just makes it feel a little bit more, but I haven't seen what the video looks like yet. And then the competitor, I think just because it's so much lighter and has that aluminum frame, it does feel like there's a little bit more felt recoil than the other two. Again, we'll have to see what the video looks like to see how the recoil actually looked. Now we're going to go ahead and do 5 rounds slow-mo through each of these 3 guns. All right, the next drill that we're going to do is for time. It's going to be a standard build drill at 7 yards on C-zone steel. It's going to be 6 rounds as fast as we can from the holster. Here we go. All right, so I had a 1.56 draw and then 2:40 total time. Fastest split was a 14. One thing I noticed is the PDP match didn't lock back. That might be something that's intended because it's a competition gun, but it's just worth noting. Here we go with the Q5. All right. So that first draw time was a little bit better. We had a 1.32, and then the total time was 2.11 with a 1.5 split. So that one did feel like it returned to zero very nicely. My draw was a little bit faster, which brought that time down, but still, it was a little tiny bit faster. All right, I also noticed that the Q5 didn't lock back, so both of those guns didn't lock back. Something to think about. Now we're going to the M&P M2.0 Competitor. Okay, that one was a lot more similar to the first one. I did feel a lot more recoil there, so I was having to really bring that thing back to zero before taking that next shot. Splits were a little bit slower. Pretty similar to that first round though. All right, just to make everything fair, I'm gonna go back down to go to the first one, so it's not like the first one was just slow. We'll see what these times look like going back the other way. All right, so here we go. All right, going back down, that first draw shot was a 1.6, 2.6 overall, 1.9 splits, so not better than the first time. Now I'm back to doing the same thing with the PDP Match Steel frame. All right, I think that was pretty similar to how the Q5 did on the first time. My draw was slow, but my splits were 1.4 and 2.4 total time. That's pretty good for those 6 shots starting at 1.62. All right, so now we're gonna be shooting a modified Blake drill. I don't have 3 big targets up here, so we're gonna be shooting one, and then the next one, and then the next one. The Blake drill is essentially a bill drill, split across 3 targets, so it's 2 shots on each target. I'm just gonna come back to the first one. We'll go ahead and go for the time, but I'm also trying to figure out how it feels transitioning, if there's any problem speeding up, slowing down during the transition, and how the recoil feels with each of these guns. So here we go. All right, so first shot was 1.78. Not used to this gun, so I'm trying to figure it out still. Total time was 3.77. All right, next we're doing the Q5 Match. This one was 1.68 first shot, 3.84, 1.7 splits. Felt about the same. All right, now we're doing the same thing with the Competitor. All right, I'm a little bit more familiar with that one. It was a 1.42, 3.36 total time, 1.6 splits. I think the recoil felt a little bit better, but I don't know that the gun stayed more flat, so we'll have to see what the video looks like for that, and I'll give a final thoughts afterward. Hey everyone, I wanted to give kind of a final thoughts after shooting all 3 of these guns. Really, I know the big ones we're comparing are the 2 Walthers. After shooting them, I did feel like the Walther Q5 Match had a slightly better recoil impulse, and I feel like it was just faster to get back on target. In the video, it looks like it just returns to that perfect zero each time. Even better than the Competitor, which is one I'm used to shooting. So one thing I will point out about those is the Walther grip angle makes it point down a little bit. So with both of those 2 guns, I struggled to find the dot initially because it would be low, coming from shooting the Smith & Wesson. So if you know, Smith & Wessons and Glocks have a little bit of a different grip angle. So when I punch out and this one's perfectly centered, the Q5 and the PDP Match are both going to be a little bit low, so I have to kind of bring it up a little bit in order for that to work. The grips and everything were pretty much the same. I wasn't super worried about that. Everything else was almost exactly the same. Especially with the Walther PDP match having those aftermarket springs in it. It has the ZR Tactical long stroke springs in it, so that makes the slide just feel really smooth. If you were to work the action on this one the same way, there's really just a lot more resistance, so it takes a little bit more effort to get this one back. With the nice upgraded springs in the PDP, it just comes back really smooth. So with that being said, I feel like with those aftermarket springs, the PDP should have felt a lot better than it did. So considering that the Q5 felt better to me, and it just has a stock OEM Walther spring in it, that says something to me, and that's probably why I'll decide to keep that one and get rid of the Walther PDP. But one thing that I especially like is I just think that the Walther Q5 is a sexier pistol. If you look at these side by side, you can tell this is the standard Q5 match, and you can tell that this one looks more like a PDP. And if you put these things side by side from the top, you can see just how much fatter the PDP is with a super terrain slide. Don't get me wrong, it feels great as far as being able to grip it up front with that super terrain slide, but I feel like I can grip this one just fine. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter, and it just feels better to me, and it looks a little bit better to me too. Maybe I'm just a fan of the original Q5, but in my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea for Walther to get rid of the Q5 match. I don't know if that's the option. That's kind of what I heard, is that the PDP line is replacing the Q5 match. And if that's the case, then I think that's kind of a bummer. And I'm glad that I have a Q5 match instead of only having an option to get a PDP match. So for me, shooting a competition tomorrow, I think that I'm going to use the Competitor because that's kind of what I'm used to. Every time I punched out, that dot was naturally where I wanted it. Not to say that it's the better gun of the three, but I would need a little bit more time behind the Walther to get used to that grip angle. And once I do, I will transition to the Q5 match if I don't end up trading that one and saving some money to get a Canik SFX Rival S.
Dark side.
I do like the all black guns. I know they're pretty much the same thing, but if I can get a gun that does the same thing for half the price, I could use that money towards other projects. So I'm probably going to keep the Walther Q5 match. There's a chance that I could sell it to get a Canik Rival S.
Dark side.
You can look at the footage though. Let me know if you agree that the Q5 seemed to look a little bit flatter, or if you had a different opinion based on the footage. Please let me know that as well. I try not to be biased in any of my reviews at all due to favoritism or anything like that. I try to give my honest impression, and honestly the PDP match and the Q5 match felt so similar that I had to go back to the footage and see, okay, I know how it felt, but how did it look? And I think the footage kind of agreed with me. If you have a different opinion, if you saw something different, please let me know. I'm very interested to hear from you. I love participating in the comments down below, and I would like to hear from you guys. So if you like my videos, please let me know that. Like and subscribe to the channel as well to see more stuff that I put out. I love doing these review videos, especially on things I haven't really seen. So check out some of my other reviews to see some things you might have been interested in before and never found. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you.